Alright, so welcome back to the channel, and today we are talking about the modelling industry. Now, really quick, if you're interested in fashion, then subscribe to this channel, which is all about fashion. Let's get straight into the video. Now, one of the big issues I see in the modelling industry is the body image and the mental health. Now, I am a fashion intern currently, and there are cases and instances where I have seen models faint on set. Now, the reason for this is because as a model in the modern day, you're expected to be extremely skinny. So I think people don't know the extent to how models have to keep themselves skinny. And I've seen on set people faint because they haven't eaten enough, or they starve themselves just so they can maintain a certain body shape. And stuff like this leads to obviously eating disorders, and then stuff like this can then lead to mental health issues. Obviously, with the beauty standards, everyone is trying to strive to those beauty standards, which means that people who are far away from the beauty standards have to go through more severe measures. So there are some people who even get surgery just to maintain the beauty standards, and obviously with surgery complications occur. Some people get killed from surgery just to maintain the society's beauty standards. There are also cases where, I'm not even going to say cases, this is most of the time, where black female models have a difficult time with modelling because the makeup artists and the hairstylists aren't used to working with black hair and doing black makeup. And to me, it's like, if you're a makeup artist, if your job, your full-time job is basically to do makeup, why do you struggle to do makeup on black people or black hair? Isn't there a course to learn that? It's like, it just doesn't make any sense. It's like being a basketball player and not knowing how to do something. So let's say basketball, you need to be able to catch a ball, you need to be able to dribble a ball to play basketball at any level, and you need to be able to shoot a ball. That's like a basketball player being able to maybe catch a ball and shoot a ball, but they can't dribble a ball, so they do not possess the ability to bounce the ball on the ground. How does that make sense? You're a makeup artist and you can't deal with a certain ethnicity. It does not make any sense. Now, a big talking point when I talk about models is Kate Moss, because Kate Moss as a model obviously is a legend and she's well known in the modeling industry, but the things she says are just so suspect. She said so many things about body image, and she's always like talking about how a lot of people need to be skinnier and stuff, and I really don't agree with a lot of stuff she says. Now, the reason I'm actually making this video is I'm currently working on a documentary that's talking about plus size fashion. I'm not going to talk about too much about plus size fashion because then what's the point of making a documentary? But I'm just saying this to say that if you're a plus size model, or you know any plus size models that would like to be featured, then message me on my Instagram at @iojo, and yeah, I'll get in touch with you. Then there's the whole danger aspect of being a model. Modeling agencies, they hire very young kids who have no life experience, and I think people underestimate how gullible kids are. Kids really trust people. Kids, it's as you get older and you start to experience things and see things, that you see people for who they truly are, and you see when you're in a situation, you weigh the negatives and positives. But as a young kid, you just kind of trust everyone. You think everyone has your best interest, and you're kind of naive. And modeling agencies take advantage of young models who getting into the industry. You see 13-year-olds, 15-year-olds getting raped in the modeling industry. Even, we're not even talking age now, adults and young kids that are models. You have photographers who say they won't do a shoot with someone unless they sleep with them, or brands saying they won't work with a model unless that person sleeps with them, and agencies doing the same thing. And there are even situations where fake modeling industries sign people and then they end up using them for human trafficking, basically. And what they do is they basically pimp out these models and drug them, and then use them for prostitution and stuff like that. And stuff like that is very common. There's a lot of cases like that in Paris, and there was a movie, I can't remember what it's called, I think it's called Taken, where they used a situation of one model, I can't really disclose that, but they used the situation of one model as the premise of the movie. And it happens a lot in a lot of European countries, Italy, Paris, France, Italy, Milan, because those are known as the fashion capitals. So if you're a modeling agency based in Paris and Milan and New York, it's more lucrative. People are more likely to fall for things like that and scams like that. And then of course there's the financial exploitation side, where I find this really funny because I have quite a few friends who do model for big brands, and when I was talking to them in terms of my documentary and just trying to find out information, I've been doing my research, and it's like with models, so let's say they say this job is £4,000. Modelling agencies have a very, very twisted way of taking almost as much money as they can. So they'll offer you £4,000, they'll give you housing and act like it's free, like they've given you free housing, and they'll act like the travel expenses are free, but because the contracts are so shady, they can then get away with overcharging you for the accommodation you stayed in, overcharging you for the travel, and just overcharging you for every tiny expense. And then by the time they're done with you, a £4,000 job will end up being, you'll end up earning maybe £200 from it. And it's like, a lot of people think models earn a lot of money. They really, really don't. The only models that earn a lot of money are the upper 1%. Now we're talking about like your Naomi Campbells, your Kate Mosses. And even then, female models obviously earn way more than male models, because they're more profitable in society. Women are more sexualized, so in terms of image, you can make more money off women. So for men, it's even worse in terms of pay in the modeling industry, but with women, it's still bad, saying that it's only the top 1% that really earns a sustainable living from modeling. And even those models that you see now earning loads of money, in a way they've kind of paid their dues, because a lot of them have gone through these situations where they're being promised £10,000 and only getting £100. They're not being paid, they're being paid late, they're being paid months after they've done modeling jobs. There are situations where models are convinced to do nude shoots, and then the photographers who do the nude shoots then go and sell off the nude pictures without the permission of the model. And because the contract is so shady, they earn all that money off nude pictures of the model, and the model gets nothing, and the pictures the model didn't even want out there anyway. So it's like the modeling industry, and a big problem with the modeling industry that I've found is there's no model union. So you know how they're like, there's the teachers union and stuff, and what those unions, if you don't know, what their role is to make sure that teachers are protected in terms of pay and stuff like that. So if, let's say, a university was paying women and men less, men more than women for the same job, women more than men, the union would step in, and because it has such a huge power, because almost all teachers are in a trade union, if you don't meet their demands, all the teachers will go on strike, and then everyone's cash flow gets spoiled. So schools know that they can't just do what they like. The same thing with sports, there's sports unions, but modeling is one of those few agencies where there's actually no union, so models aren't really protected. And this is why models are exploited the most out of a lot of professions, because there's no protection for models, and the agencies and brands know this, and they push their luck and they take advantage. So obviously there are positives to being a model. You get to go, you get to travel the world, you get to go on you get to just go on shoots, which is fun. You get to wear loads of different brands, you get to meet designers, you get to meet big people in the fashion industry. And if you're really invested in fashion, that's something that you really like. You get to meet like-minded models, people, you get to make friends. Obviously there's a positive and a negative to everything. There are a few things that are very all negative, and almost nothing really that's all positive. But I just wanted to point out that modeling really. All that glitters isn't gold. Everything isn't what it seems, because people just think it's this positive thing. And I feel like if you're going to go into modeling, you need to know what you're getting yourself into first, and you actually need to look at these contracts properly before you sign them. And you might be asking, are you a model? I'm like, no, I'm not a model. What happened is, recently I've been offered 3 jobs for big brands. I'm not going to talk about it because I'm not allowed to, but essentially because of this, I was like, oh, I'm going to do all the research on modeling, and I started finding out really negative things that happen in the modeling industry. And these aren't like, this isn't propaganda. Like, I've talked to models that this has happened to. I've met a few people in the past week that they've confirmed these things have happened. I watched some videos and I've seen some people talking about this as well. And that's why I was going to make the documentary. Now, the documentary is not on modeling. The documentary I'm making is actually on plus size modeling. And the reason for this is because I feel like what people call plus size is what should be the norm. Because I feel like what people call models are people who have eating disorders and are like, if you look at a Saint Laurent show, like, they're known for having issues like that. You see women so skinny, like, it's like, that cannot be healthy. And you have models like Ashley Graham, who I think are a representation of a more healthy body. Because to me personally, the healthy body is, you're not starving yourself, you're not overeating, you're living healthy, you're exercising, you're actively fit, your body's in check, everything's in check, and your body is just what it naturally is. I think people don't realize that naturally, people have naturally different bodies. Like, a lot of black women and Latina women tend to store fat naturally in their bum, thighs, and just places like that. So they tend to have bigger bums. Sometimes they're bustier as well. And a lot of people think they're overweight, but it's just different ethnicities have store their body fat differently. Like, if you look at Samoans are naturally more big boned than other ethnicities. And I've seen in fashion, they just dismiss totally things like that, and they basically act like, no, you're not healthy unless you're skinny, da, da, da. It's like, not really. Now, my views on plus size fashion is, so I like using Ashley Graham because she's a good benchmark, but Ashley Graham is someone who is, people would consider big, but to me, she lives healthy, she doesn't overeat, she just doesn't subscribe to starving herself to be this, this benchmark of, that what society deems is beautiful and beauty standards. And that's why one thing I love about what the plus size model movement is. Now, what I have a problem with is, I feel like plus size models should be people who are living healthily but just happen to be a different body shape to being skinny, because that then proves that people are different body shapes. And I feel like the people that then destroy this are the people who are clearly overweight, do not live healthy, are really open about living unhealthy, and they have millions of followers, and they promote this body positivity, but it's not the type of body positivity like live healthy and your body is your body, which I believe is true because people have different bodies. But instead, you see all these people that are promoting be confident in yourself regardless, and it's like, yes, be confident in yourself regardless, but also live a healthy life. Like, it's just reality. Like, people die because of health issues, and if you're telling people be positive with the way you are, and then you encourage these people to keep, overeating, living a bad life, living a very unhealthy and toxic life, not caring about their health, there are people that promote that, and they're also putting the plus size umbrella. Like, huge people that are like, clearly have issues with weight that aren't medically based. But me being a qualified personal trainer, I also understand that someone who's obese has messed up their metabolism. So when we're talking about weight from a weight standpoint, now this is the personal trainer coming out now, you've messed up your metabolism. So you being fat, you could then or really, let me not say fat, but really obese, for example, medically obese, if you then live a very healthy lifestyle, it will be very difficult for you to lose weight compared to if you live that lifestyle when you're a bit slimmer, because your metabolism would have been higher. When you become huge, you've kind of messed up your metabolism, your hormones go funny, so it's harder to then slim down. Whereas if you were a bit slimmer, your metabolism would have been faster and your hormones wouldn't have been as messed up. So that's also a thing where if someone's fat, or I keep using fat is a very, very strong term, or I'll say medically obese, but if someone's medically obese, then I've seen a lot of people that say go lose weight. Well, it's not that easy because their metabolism is slower. So that's another thing to note. So yeah, my views on, I'm more of a realist. My views on plus size modeling is people like Ashley Graham show that naturally women are different shapes, different sizes, different ethnicities, have different weight distributions, they store fat in different places. And I feel like those are the models that should be on the runway, because that depicts reality. That depicts if everyone was living healthy, you'll get all these different shapes and sizes, but instead what is depicted on the models that are on the runway just ultra skinny, which is fine because there should still be ultra skinny models, because I know people that are just naturally ultra skinny. So it's like, instead of just putting ultra skinny people on the runway, to be people with different shapes and sizes that are living that's the key, that are living a healthy lifestyle. So obviously that means that someone who's medically obese would not be on the runway, because a lot of people think people that are supporting plus size fashion feel like people who are medically obese should be on the runway, and that's not it. I think the fashion industry has just seen that hangers hold clothes well, so skinny people are kind of like hangers, like really, really skinny people, and they are deemed to make clothing look good and profitable, which I don't agree with at all. But yeah, that's kind of like the premise of my documentary. I couldn't really talk about this for a long time, but I don't want to spoil it. So yeah, my documentary hopefully will come out by the end of summer. So it's about just plus size models. And I'll say once again, if you know any plus size models, or you're a plus size model yourself, men and women, anything, then contact me on Instagram and I'll get back to you. So like this video if you liked it. Tell me what your thoughts are on modeling, the toxic bits, the good bits, if you're a model, plus size fashion, what you think about it. And subscribe to my channel if you're new, like I've said earlier, and just stay tuned for more.